Crypto falling a little bit right now, but now is not the time to get distracted by fear headlines, by interest rate news, by recession news, by manipulation in the crypto markets. And I'm saying this from my point of view. This is my crypto journey. Right now, as we talk about the 4-year cycles of crypto, as we're waiting for this parabolic bull run right now, this is a daily chart zoomed in, but here's the Bitcoin chart zoomed out. Right now is the time to focus. If we track these markets, which we do on this YouTube channel, and we kind of sit around for 4 years in these cycles waiting for these bull moves, right now is one of the most absolute critical times. Right now is not the time to be distracted. So I want to talk about the altcoin markets, especially altcoin markets as they relate to Bitcoin dominance, which is continuing to go up. Altcoins looking terrible, right? I want to discuss really what's happening there and why it's important not to be distracted in that regard as well. And then we're going to look at the Bitcoin daily chart. I think a really good roadmap for the next few days as Feds get ready to cut interest rates. So hit the subscribe, hit the like. Let's just jump into this. I do want to start talking about altcoins because I know there's so many altcoin holders. For me, my crypto journey, this is a huge piece of my crypto journey. And right now, actually, I just saw this post. ETH holders watching ETH BTC trading below 0.04 for the first time in 3.5 years. People, altcoin holders, not just ETH, altcoin holders in general, like what is happening right now? While the Bitcoin dominance chart, look at this on the monthly, everybody. Look at this on the monthly. But exactly where Bitcoin dominance is right now is exactly where it should be compared to historical data. And that's really what I want to talk about as it relates to altcoin charts. I'm going to really use ETH BTC chart as an example. So that post that we just saw on X, really just discussing the fact that ETH BTC continues to fall and it's at this level that it hasn't been in 3.5 years, all the way back here. It's like it's made no progress. And this is the story with a lot of altcoins right now, right? And everybody's just like, man, I guess Bitcoin, I guess this is it. But if you look at previous cycles, at this moment in previous cycles, this is the story. And right now, and I'm going to use ETH BTC chart as an example, right now is not the time, in my opinion, okay? This is not advice, this is my opinion. Right now is not the time to take your eyes off of altcoins and give up on altcoins. Right now is the time that really we've waited for as it relates to altcoins. And we'll see what happens in the coming bull run that I think we're going to get, but I'm quite sure, I really think that altcoins are going to have an explosive move against Bitcoin. And this is ETH BTC on the weekly chart. I want to point something out to you. If you just look at this chart right now, what is happening? We are in this pretty much oversold environment on the slower moving momentum oscillator. That's the RSI. The MACD has cooled down so much. The stock RSI is oversold right now. And if you just look at something, this is what I want to really draw our attention to. Look at ETH BTC right around this moment last cycle. It was falling and it was not looking good as it relates to the all-time high of ETH BTC, right? It was not looking good. And so right now we're in a very similar environment. The purple lines that you see there on the screen running up and down the screen, that's last cycle. This is altcoin season really kicking off. And what I mean by that, you've been watching my videos, that's Bitcoin dominance historically around these purple lines, where the purple line is this cycle. Historically, that's when Bitcoin dominance falls. But look at last cycle around this time leading into that purple line. Bitcoin dominance was making a move to the upside. Altcoins were looking terrible. And we're in a very similar area. And you'll see a lot of kind of the Bitcoin only crowd. They're going to really just use this time, this season for Bitcoin dominance as it really makes this move to the upside. They're going to use it to just say, hey, listen, Bitcoin is the only option. Altcoins, as you see, they're failing. But I zoom out on this Bitcoin dominance chart, and what I see is I see lower highs on Bitcoin dominance. I see altcoins actually making a power play, a market share play as it relates to Bitcoin. Bitcoin dominance has not been putting higher highs and higher lows throughout these cycles. Bitcoin dominance is, as you notice, getting weaker through these cycles. And so that's really such a key data point that is the most simple and clear to see, that says, you know what, altcoins are here and they're likely here to stay. And that's because there's a huge market for it. And there's a ton of innovation happening in the altcoin markets. So that's ETH BTC chart. And I wanted to also just point your attention to ADA BTC. I just want to show you something. Same thing, right? ADA BTC, this is Cardano. You can see this moment last cycle just looking terrible, right? Even after that bull market looking terrible. It's the same thing this cycle. ADA BTC looking terrible. But you start looking at indicators, momentum oscillators, things like that, like we just looked at with ETH BTC. Look at Cardano. Look at the bullish divergence happening on this MACD. Higher lows on this MACD, and even the histogram. Actually, if you go to I want to show you something on the monthly ADA BTC chart. And this is just a representation of altcoins. It looks terrible. I get it. But this is, for me, not the time to be distracted, because you wait years for this oversold, high fear environment to get a potential power play for altcoins. This chart really shows it. Look at the bullish divergence really setting up on this MACD chart. The histogram getting very close to going green, higher lows on the histogram. The MACD, we might get this MACD line, the blue line, crossing the red signal line for the first time ever on this chart. And ADA BTC, and this could just be a really good example of altcoin markets, getting ready to bottom out. Here's that purple line, altcoin season. I realize the pain, I realize the fear, and I realize that there's no guarantees this plays out. I know that, everybody, okay? But when and it's almost like last cycle around this moment, just putting all the data together through the cycles, right? Even Bitcoin and Bitcoin halvings and the repetition of cycles and just watching the data. And even then, just knowing as I'm doing videos back here that there was not a guarantee there would be a parabolic bull run, but just anticipating it. This is kind of where we are right now. Just, you don't know. There's no guarantees, but I'm anticipating. I anticipate the worst. It could all fail. I realize that. We have to prepare. But all the data continues to line up. And then if we go to the altcoin market chart, total crypto market cap chart, I just want to show you something. This is what the chart looks like as altcoin season really does make its way, right? And again, here's that purple line. Historically, that's altcoin season. Doesn't mean it's going to happen exactly the same time. But these things really start to make sense. The oversold, high fear environment for altcoins, the potential for this parabolic bull, especially when you start taking into context this. And I'm going to save this on the chart from here on out as we evaluate these markets. But historically, as you know, I talk about it nonstop now, since 1957, markets bottom 3 months after recession begins. We are so close. I really think the worst is over. In 12 of the 14 rate cycles since 1929, and this is key data for this week, the S&P 500 posted gains in the 12 months after the first rate cut. And what's happening? First rate cut. These are the headlines. World braces for Fed easing amid 36-hour interest rate rush. Fed interest rate cuts could boost stocks or sink them. Well, there's going to be speculation all over the place. But again, in the 12 of the 14 rate cycles since 1929, S&P 500 posted gains in the 12 months after. If that happens again, it's happened 12 out of 14. If it happens again, what does that mean? Since we're getting the rate cut this week, what does that mean for a total crypto market cap chart? In the 12 months after, I'm not saying in the next month or two, we could go lower. The fear could rise even higher. But what does it mean for the next 12 months? And beyond that, because we're in a crypto cycle. We're in a post-Bitcoin halving crypto cycle right now. So my whole point here is this, for me, don't get distracted by the headlines. Look at the data, and especially the zoomed out data, right? That's me. That's what I'm doing. We can look at the zoomed in data. We can look at the zoomed in Bitcoin chart. And we have the next couple of days are going to be crazy for these markets. I just want to say, in terms of markets, this chart applies to crypto in general, the consolidation that crypto's been in, but this is Bitcoin on the daily. You can see it hovering around the 20-day moving average. Would be phenomenal to see support on this current daily candle, even consolidation above the 20-day, and then making a move to the upside continuation, right? We already had this bottoming out at the lower trend line. We broke the 20, failed at the 50. We come back down, test the 20, and then if we can see a move to the upside, be awesome. That would be exactly what we want to see in this type of move. Throwbacks to moving averages are so just it's just something we should so much anticipate and to watch what happens at support. But I just want to say the markets can react very quickly and in high fear on the short term to whatever the news is on Wednesday, whatever the rate cut's going to be, 25, 50 points, whatever it is. And it can react one way or another. You're going to go read headlines. It's going to be all over the place, whether it's going to be bullish or not. But we could have a huge dip, high fear, short term, looking terrible, and then boom, the bounce to the upside. And then all of a sudden, we are entering this altcoin season area. Bitcoin's making a move. Crypto market cap is making a move all the way to the upper trend line of consolidation after kind of this capitulation event. Or maybe markets just react so positively to the short-term news on Wednesday, whatever happens, and then we're making a move to the upside sooner than later. The reason why, because listen, nobody knows. Nobody has any idea what way markets are going to move. But the reason why, if we're going to look at short-term charts and short-term price action, we have all of these indicators in play right now. We have the lower trend line around 51,000 for Bitcoin structure. We have even the very short-term, these shorter-term areas of confirmation, right? Whether this fails of support, the 20-day, or we break back above the 50-day, which is around $59,000, almost $60,000. See a Bitcoin make a move to that area. Now we're really getting kind of this shorter term bullish confirmation. But right now you can see there's a lot of indecisiveness in the markets. And it's probably going to be like that for the next couple of days going into this news. And even thereafter, right? Let the markets absorb the news. Let them reset however they're going to reset. And just wait. And that's kind of what I'm doing on the short term. But it's, for me, it's the zoomed out. You look at an ETH BTC chart. Everybody thinks it's over for ETH. We're actually probably getting very close to that moment where actually the worst is over. And there's going to be a bottoming out for altcoin season. Bitcoin dominance chart looks like it's just going to be very dominant on the macro. But I think it's going to just hit a wall. Here's our lower high Fibonacci right there. This is our lower high Fibonacci last cycle. Around this moment, I think it's going to hit a wall, and I think it's going to start falling for altcoin season. Those are just my thoughts. That's what I'm watching. But again, have to be prepared for anything in these markets. But as we start this week, that's kind of some of my thoughts in terms of these charts, these markets, interest rate cut week. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below, everybody. Hope you're having a good start to your week. I'll see you in the next video. Hit the subscribe, hit the like if you enjoyed this video, and God bless.